If you're a mom right now who has been running on fumes, living in survival mode, and wondering why having more coffee or even doing more workouts just simply isn't working for you anymore, then I'm here to tell you it does not have to feel this way, especially as a mom who's currently 2 years postpartum and has helped and coached hundreds of women out of this kind of funk and help them feel energized again. I'm here today to tell you that you don't need more time, that you don't need more time away from your kids, but you need better systems in the season of life that you're in. So I'm gonna be sharing 8 practical tips that's gonna help you feeling energized now, even as a busy mom, while still feeling calm, present, and productive. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Jen, and welcome to Meant to Mom. This is the training ground for strong and ambitious mothers who refuse to choose between achieving their goals and their family. So if you like that type of thing, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. Also, a quick note before we start, I created the Tired Mom Reset Guide. The link is in the description. Essentially what it is, it's a guide that is going to help you in figuring out ways to boost your energy in the season of motherhood. And so if you guys are interested in that and want to break it down exactly on what to do and next steps, then I highly recommend clicking the link down in the description after you watch this video. So tip number 1 is creating better systems and not just having a to-do list. And this was a huge lesson that I had to learn even before I was pregnant that I implemented quickly into motherhood. And that's when I started an online business with my husband, a fitness coaching business like 5-6 years ago during COVID. And before that, I was a full-time nurse. And so during that transition, like understanding like when you go to a job, you know exactly what you expect to do. You maybe have a schedule of appointments or clients that you need to see, and it's pretty predictable, right? It's kind of day in, day out. And when we created our business, it was like I was overwhelmed by how many things that I had to do, and I didn't have a schedule. I remember spending days and hours in a day just on one task, and I would spend so much energy just figuring out what to do next. And I feel like that is very similar to motherhood, where we feel like we have so many tabs open in our head. It feels like it's Groundhog Day and you're just living in survival mode, and it's the decision fatigue essentially. But it's not necessarily having, more time. It's really just creating space to create systems and a scheduled routine in your day, because even though life can get chaotic with kids, I know there are consistencies in it. And so a big thing that I had to shift was creating protocols and systems into my week and just creating structure. That way I can implement that time and the energy and the space to be able to achieve my goals and to prioritize those habits to achieve them. So what that would look like would be scheduling appointments with yourself to work out, to have time to meal prep, doing little things like meal times, like when you're going to be eating, little things like that into your week, and understanding what times you can implement into your week can be game changing. Another thing would be offloading some tasks throughout the week. So that could be grocery shopping. A big thing that I did in pregnancy that has been a game changer that we still to this day is use a app called Instacart, where essentially someone does the grocery shopping for you. Now I love grocery shopping, but especially with now as a mother, my time is so valuable. Instacarting has been a game changer for me to save time to focus on other things that I want to do for myself, for my family, and then time for meal prep as well. Another thing could be creating a capsule wardrobe for you, for your kids, so that you're not constantly thinking about what am I going to wear today. Having that set kind of like mom uniform really offloads that mental fatigue that we build up so much into our brains like every single day. So planning your week ahead of time, reducing the daily decisions that you can make in a day is really going to help sustain and boost your energy so that you're not focusing on having to think, what am I going to do? So tip number 2 is holding off on the coffee. And yes, really. And I know ladies, especially postpartum, I felt like I needed to be on caffeine and like endless amount of coffee to function. And I remember just relying on coffee and snacking throughout the day, but it ended up making me feel more sluggish and more tired. When now looking back, now that I'm 2 years postpartum, I actually don't rely on coffee as much anymore. I still have it and I like enjoy it, and I have no more than one a day. If anything, I'm like a matcha queen, and so I love having matcha and coffee. And so The thing is with coffee is that you don't want to have it first thing in the morning, because when you wake up naturally, your cortisol is really high. That's really kind of what wakes you up. And then there's also a chemical in our brains called adenosine, which is that natural like sleepy chemical in our bodies. And that's also really high in the morning, and that starts to decrease. Now, when you have coffee, the moment you get up, or that's the first thing you consume, especially in the morning, that actually increases cortisol. It really skyrockets, and that can sometimes lead to crashes and just that more of that fatigue throughout the day. And so it's very important that if you are going to have coffee and you want to maybe reduce the amount slowly over time, wait at the sweet spot is waiting 60 to 90 minutes after waking up. So go do your morning routine, get the kids ready, and then having a high protein meal with fiber, so even some fruit. That in and of itself, it's going to delay that time to you having coffee, and it's actually going to better serve you, because that's going to really help sustain your blood sugar. It's going to help lessen the crash, and then you could still enjoy your coffee after. And this has been an ongoing ritual for me for years. But doing this alone is going to help conserve your energy, really mitigate and reduce that afternoon crash, and help sustain your energy throughout the day. Tip number 3 is getting outside daily. And I know it's kind of tough right now, because if you're watching this video and I'm filming this kind of in the winter time, it could sometimes be really difficult to, actually get outside, because it is currently like snowing where we are. So one of the biggest things is just getting outside daily. And when I was like fresh postpartum and I wasn't working out at the time, I would go out for walks with my newborn constantly, and it was the most favorite part of my day. And I remember going like sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day, and just having that fresh oxygen, getting your blood going, really helps boost your energy, especially first thing in the morning. It also resets your circadian rhythm, and it was just so refreshing for me, for my emotional and mental health, just getting outside, enjoying nature, and also my newborn as well. So I highly recommend just get outside daily. And like I said, if you're in the season where it's kind of winter right now, have it a ongoing like morning ritual. And this is something I do religiously now, is opening all the windows in your home. Burping your house would be opening up the windows, even opening up the door if you can, for just like 5-10 minutes in the morning, to just get a fresh wave of oxygen in your home. This will help so much for your energy, and just also resetting your circadian rhythm and your sleeping habits. So I highly recommend. Tip number 4 is delegating energy draining tasks. And this is something that I learned in business. Now, when you first start a business, you are wearing all the hats, okay? And that's just like motherhood too. But eventually, when you are constantly, wearing all the hats, maybe you're in the season where you're growing your family, you eventually stretch yourself very thin. And so in order to scale a business, for example, you need to build a team. And building a team means offloading maybe tasks, things that are maybe taking up a lot of your energy, that you want to maybe allocate that energy into something that matters a little bit more, or that you want to focus a little bit more and prioritize in. And so it's the same thing in motherhood. So if you're growing your family, maybe you guys are fresh into like 2 or 3 years into motherhood and want to start really working smarter and not harder with your time, offloading these tasks can be a game changer to conserving your energy. So something I'm doing right now to kind of like transition a lot of this kind of like task and energy draining things in my life is, certain things like Instacart, where I can pay for a subscription to have someone do the grocery shopping for me. Or something we've done in the past 2 years is hiring someone to do our lawn care. These are little things that you could offload in the household. So something I'm doing for business right now is really just being intentional with the content I'm putting up. And that's why I'm taking a lot of time, not doing much on Instagram and like TikTok and like social media, but putting my energy into things like YouTube and creating more value dense content, because I feel like a lot of things that I want to put out can be more consumable into something that I spend a lot of time on every single day, even as a mom. Another thing in your household that you can do is writing just a list of things in the household or chores that you can communicate to older kids or to your husband, and having these things in place so that you're not constantly having to do everything yourself. Because as a mom, you absolutely need a village. And I feel like in my personal experience, it was hard for me growing up to ask for help, but ladies, we need the help, guys. So do it in a smart way that you can strategically plan where you could offload these things so that you can sustain your energy throughout the week. Tip number 5 is training for motherhood even when you're tired. And I know this sounds counterintuitive, and the old me used to think that training or resistance training, like working out at the gym, was training 5-6 times a week. But as a mom, that is way too much. That is going to lead you to burnout. So training, what that actually looks like is just training 3 to 4 times a week at most. Honestly, 3 times a week is a really good sweet spot for a lot of moms. If you really have bigger body composition goals, then do 4 times and that is it. Training is honestly the best return on investment in terms of your energy and longevity, because building muscle really helps support your metabolism. And when you have an improved and better metabolism, that's not only going to give you energy, it's going to allow you to feel stronger and to feel more capable, like picking up your kids, being able to grab a ton of groceries in one go. These little things really matter as a mom. And so resistance training is the key to really boosting and sustaining and having just more energy throughout the day. That is really the key here. I don't know about you guys, I'm in the era of just like not chasing skinny anymore. That was like me in my bodybuilding era, where I just wanted to be my leanest, meanest self. But now I'm in a place where I want to be so strong that I could keep up with my kids, right? That's all we want. So resistance training is key to really building that sustainability in your energy, in your strength, but you got to train for motherhood, okay? And I don't mean doing hours of cardio. Now, that there is a time and place, cardiovascular endurance and building that, and I think cardio is great for that and can be added into your training regimen. But doing things like Pilates or group style classes, again, can be fun, can be something to really get you going. But if you really want to achieve those body composition goals, you want to build strength, you want to be able to like keep up with your kids long term, and also just having like healthy bones and just like feeling healthy and capable, resistance training is the key, guys. Tip number 6 is eating for energy, not restriction. And when I was in the newborn phase, I was at a place where I was constantly like munching on little chocolates and like little treats throughout the day or even at night, constantly snacking. I was literally living in survival mode. It was so crazy. But I remember I was just not only feeling tired, but there was like a sluggish, groggy feeling where I just felt like crap all the time. And I am a C-section mama. So there was definitely a period of like 2 months where I had to really focus on slowing down and healing. But eating processed foods or just constantly snacking throughout the day wasn't conducive to that. And so a big thing that I had implemented even before we gave birth, before my C-section, I made freezer-made meals that was very nutrient dense, that had a lot of not only the micronutrients, which is your protein, carbs, and fat, but also had the micronutrients that help promote healing and recovery in the postpartum phase. And so when you are thinking about meals, I feel like with moms, eating seems like an afterthought because we're constantly keeping up with our kids to the point where we miss meals, or we are constantly snacking throughout the day, or just like binge eating at nighttime, when really that is not conducive to our goals, because it makes us feel sluggish. It really creates that up and down roller coaster ride of your blood sugar, and which leads to those afternoon crashes and just feeling sluggish all the time. So what I would recommend, depending on the season that you're in, really stick to whole nutrient dense food. So real foods that you could buy at the grocery store that's filled with protein, carbs, fats, fiber, that actually fuels you, because you need to train and eat in motherhood. Like, that is the fuel to get you going. It is literally the energy. It is literally the gas fueling the tank. So if you want to boost your energy and you're looking at your nutrition, something that really sticks with me is that you are not just training for motherhood, you need to train like an athlete. And motherhood is essentially, it feels like a sport in some cases, right? So you want to fuel yourself like an athlete. And so that means making sure that you're eating a very good diet to help support that. Tip number 7 is creating a recovery-friendly sleep environment. And I feel like as moms, sleep is so volatile because it changes throughout the seasons that we are in motherhood. Another big thing that I was like struggling with too, especially early on in like the newborn phase, even just like 1 year in, was that I would constantly tell myself that until I get more sleep, then I will go to the gym, because I was training like in the morning and I felt like I wasn't getting a certain amount of sleep. So I was always waiting until I get more sleep, or until the weekend is over, then I will prioritize getting a workout in and whatnot. When I feel like in motherhood, it's not about waiting till you have more time. It's about creating the recovery modalities to enhance your sleep, enhance recovery, and enhance things that'll actually sustain your energy throughout the week. And I also feel like as a millennial too, we were taught and like conditioned by society that we can run and do all the things and get everything done all in one go as moms, and hustle culture, and like, yeah, I thrive on 5-6 hours straight. Like, that's something I used to tell myself in my 20s. But in motherhood, it's really just working smarter and not harder, because we do not operate like that as moms. So instead of controlling what you can't control, let's focus on controlling things like recovery to help support sleep and support the energy that you want to gain. So things like having dedicated days in your schedule for intentional rest days and days to slow down, taking certain supplements to help with sleep and recovery, eating a high protein diet, because having protein is literally the things you need. It's part of the building blocks you need to build muscle. Or creating a healthy sleep environment or sleep routine where you are creating a space that's actually going to be supportive of that sleep. So having blackout curtains, eye masks, not having your phone and looking at your phone right before you go to bed. You know, I'm very guilty of that sometimes, but creating a sleep environment to help better sleep is going to help ultimately achieve everything, because the more and more you feel recovered, the faster and the better you'll feel, and the more present and calm you'll be. And so like, recovery is everything. And the last tip is removing energy drainers. So this is something that I realized that I was doing, and the moment I stopped doing it, the moment I felt more calm and more present and just felt more productive. And that was just like really being mindful of my screen time. I mean, we work on online business, so we're constantly on our devices, but I really had forced that out of my life and really just was intentional about setting healthy boundaries with my phone. And that's why a big part of why I'm transitioning more on YouTube was just to be able to be off my social media and off those devices, so that I can really have that intentional brain power to focus on things that I wanted to do. And that can not only mean your phones and devices and the environment that you see online, but that could also be the environment outside of social media, outside of your devices, such as family, friends, and just creating a healthy boundaries with people, with things in your life can make a huge difference. Because in motherhood, I'm just so selfish with my peace and the time that I have and my nervous system essentially. So really making sure that you're setting those walls, you know, but not necessarily blocking those walls where you feel like where it's not serving you. But if you can take away and have those like intentional detoxes, like those limited detox, I do those all the time, and I found that I was just more productive, and I just had the energy and like mental bandwidth to even get more done, but also to hold space for people in my life who need me, right? Like my family, my kids, like the people in my life. That is so key. So last tip is removing those energy drainers. So if you enjoyed this video and you found this helpful, please like and leave a comment down below. Would love to hear it. And again, if you are interested in the Tired Mom Reset Guide, please be sure to link in the description down below. And remember, ladies, you're not just a mom, you're a mentor mom. We'll see you in the next video.